Let's take our time together to calculate some annually compounded interest. If that doesn't get you excited, I'm not sure what will. So compound interest, let's start with just talking about what it is. So compound interest is interest that is applied on a regular basis. So think about compounding monthly, yearly, daily, quarterly, biannually, whatever, as long as it's on a regular occurrence. And then each time that interest is calculated, we add it to the balance. So maybe our balance starts at $10. And then the first iteration, we have an interest of $1. So interest is $1. So we would add that to the balance. And our new balance is 11. On the second occurrence, maybe our interest is $1.20. So we add that, and now our balance is $12.20. So you can see how your interest grows, your balance grows, and it continues. That's the idea of compound interest. So let's look at the formula for this. It's a beautiful formula. A of t equals p times 1 plus r over n raised to the n times t. Now, when you're looking at this, you're like, what does all of this mean? Well, A of t is the amount after t years. So this spot right here just tells you how many years. That's it. It has no actual value. P is the amount of deposit. So we would often call this the principal. The R is the interest rate, and usually this is an annual interest rate. We will often call this the AP, that's a P, APR. The N is the number of times compounded. Now, this is where you really need to be paying attention because N can change, and T is the number of years. Now, let's talk about N. Nope, not that page. So, let's put a little box over here. If we are talking about monthly, then N is 12. If we're talking about daily, we assume there are 365 days in a year. If we're talking annually, then N equals 1 because once a year. Quarterly would be N equals 4 because there are 4 quarters in a year. So just kind of keep that kind of idea in mind for your value of N. Let's go ahead and use this. You deposit $800 into an account earning 3% interest compounded annually. Assume you make no other deposits or withdrawals because that's kind of important. Otherwise, the balance is going to change as we go. So how much is in the account after 7 years? I am a huge fan of telling us what do we know. So we deposit $800. That is our principal. We're earning 3%. That is our rate as a decimal. Compounded annually, that means N is 1, and it's 7 years. So T equals 7. Now I can go ahead and put this into our formula. So A sub 7, right, the amount after 7 years. This 7 has no real meaning, just telling us how many years we're talking about. That is the only the only point of this. So 800 times 1 plus 0.03 over 1 raised to the 1 times 7 power. Now in this case, super nice because we're dividing by 1 here, we're multiplying by 1. Makes the problem a lot easier. So we could simplify this problem to be 800 times 1 plus 0.03 raised to the 7. Because anything divided by 1 is the same, right? It's the identity property here, and multiplying by 1. No, so now we can simplify by saying, well, this is 1.03 to the 7th power. If you have a calculator, you can type that in just as you see it. 800, 1.03. You're going to need a caret to the 7. This caret implies we're going to the exponent. You might also use a formula like that, right? One of these two symbols in your calculator. And we end up with an answer of A sub 7. So after 7 years, we will have $983.90 rounded to the nearest penny. Now, if that's good for you, go ahead and click off. If you want to see how this looks, if you need to do it in pieces, continue on. So if I have the formula, 800 times 1.03 to the 7th power, if your calculator doesn't allow you to type this all in at one time, then we need to use the order of operations. So we're going to start with this piece. We're just going to start with 1.03 raised to the 7th power. So when you type that in, again, you're going to use either the caret or a y to the x, one of those to say, hey, so you would type in 1.03 caret 7 or 1.03 y to the x 7. These symbols imply the next number is an exponent. So when you type that in, this value equals 1.229873865, and it just goes on and on and on and on. The nice thing is you can leave that in your calculator. So now we have a to the 7 equals 800 times this value that is in your calculator. Keep it in your calculator and just hit times 800. So this value times 800, and that will give you your 983.90. Thanks.